Curtis.
How's it going, everybody? This is Jim, and I am joined this week, of course, by the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, PJ and Sarah, also known as Peach. Welcome, buddy. Thank you so much for filling in today, as Mr. Blevins is very much so stuck in traffic.
No worries, Jim. How's it going? What's everyone doing? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. How are we today?
I am sure everybody is doing well. I know I am doing very well as I finally can win a couple of games again this season. So things are looking up for me on ladder. I hit rank 10, I think, last night. I was playing Priest, and I hit like 2 ranks in like 25 minutes, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was happening.
Ooh.
It was pretty exciting. But we are going to be talking a whole lot more about that Priest deck in particular later, as it is the deck tech that Blevins chose, completely unknown to him that I had even tried it, let alone been like committed to it for most of the season. But yeah, so we will take a look at that and talk a little bit more about that deck, and please stick around for the after show, as Peach will be filling in for that as well, and we will probably be doing some team laddering for that Priest deck. So, a lot of news this week, Peach. A lot of crazy things going on with Hearthstone.
What do you think of the new button there, James?
I'm pretty excited about the new button. We're going to definitely spend a lot of time talking about that with the Brawl mode. And we definitely are going to look at the 2 new heroes that have been kind of teased. And since I was just absolutely 100% right about what the Warrior skin was going to be...
Minus $10, please. That's look at your $10 out now. Minus $10.
I won't be buying the Warrior, but we'll talk about that a little bit more, and we just want to go ahead and hype up the fact that you're here a little bit, buddy.
Yeah!
We're super pumped to have you.
Look at that card.
I made this card a while back for you, and it never got any use, but now I'm happy to have a reason to use it. So
that is incredible. That's perfect too. My mouth is shooting out flames and noise, and I have horns. I am into that. Oh my god, that's awesome.
The picture, like taking your face out of the photo, was like, I thought it was going to be really bad, but it turned out just perfect that you were like wearing a baseball cap and that.
It turned out great.
Yeah, definitely was pretty happy with how it turned out. So, anyways, Peach, there are bound to be a couple people. We do have some YouTube guys, and I'm sure they've seen the streamer spotlight of you. But introduce yourself a little bit, tell us some about you, and give a plug to your stream. Let them know where they can find you.
All right, so I was an avid Magic player with Jim for years and years and years. That's kind of how we met, how we got started into this whole gaming situation. We started to practice together. We played casual together. We got very good. Jim was a lot better than I was. So we started to travel to tournaments. We started to do some SEG events. We started to do some events, some MTG events that were close to us. Jim had hit some pretty high ranks in a GP a while back. Would you finish 19, Jim?
Yeah, I think so. 19 or 18 or something?
I think 18 or 19. And that kind of kick-started this whole thing where we were going to start to travel, and we were going to do it, and we were going to take on the world and be these incredible Magic players and all this other great stuff. And then Hearthstone came around, and Jim was like, dude, you have to try this game. You have to try this game. I'm like, no, I'm not big on the computer thing, and this thing, I don't know if I want to try it, and I don't know if I want to do it. And he's like, the game's free, and this, that, the other thing, and just give it a try. So he remoted into my laptop one day and downloaded it for me and pretty much forced my hand. He said, just try it. So I tried it, of course. It's complete addiction. You know how it is, people who follow me. So I started out with, same thing, unlocking all the characters. I think I did all that in 3 hours, nonstop. It's like you couldn't put it in the vein fast enough. I started with the Zoo deck because it was cheap to build, and I swore to God that I would never dump any money into this game because it was free. On and on and on and on. So you can only play so many Zoo games before you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe Druid looks cool. Oh, you know what? Maybe Paladin looks cool. Long story short, and you will hear me say that a lot because I am long-winded. Went out, sold my Magic collection. Jim, in all of his genius, built my own computer for me, and I started to stream. So I bought the camera, I bought all the equipment, I started streaming in November of last year. So I feel like I've been streaming a lot longer than that. But it's only been since November. And the rest is pretty much history. A lot of you guys that are on here follow me already. If you don't, it's, you can follow me at Peach4. That's where my stream's at. And,
right above his head. Right above his head.
Right,
you can see where
there you go, right above my brain.
That's his Twitch name and his Twitter handles, so...
So, everybody wants to live the dream. Who am I to say that I wouldn't want to do it full time? Because I would love to. Who doesn't want to sit here and play video games and, interact with other people? And it's something that I'm passionate about, just as passionate as I was about Magic. We just couldn't... I just enjoy sitting in my basement, to be honest with you, if I'm telling you the truth. It's nice to be able to go down and boot up instead of, try and figure out what we're going to do for the weekend, trying to find rides, trying to book hotels, trying to find a tournament close enough. Because the Friday Night Magic scene, it's good, but you kind of top out, you know what I mean? And the top guys are always at the top, and the bottom guys are kind of always at the bottom. And, as those bottom guys get better, they make you better, but you're basically playing the same people every week. It's the same 20 guys. With Hearthstone, it's something new every time something comes out. Different deck comes out, it's always something new. So that's the story. That's how I got here. Thanks, Reg. I appreciate it. But that's basically my shtick. So I can't stop playing it. I need to get better. So being here and being on stream and being with Jim and John and those guys and being able to swap deck ideas and stuff is critical to growth, at least for my growth.
Well, I know it was definitely something, like, when I played Hearthstone and you didn't yet, it was like a sad time in my life, because I wasn't playing Magic, and I miss there's so many guys from Magic I miss hanging out with.
I agree with you there, and that's the thing that I not that I hate, but I miss the most. Yeah. Schmitty and all those guys, like the group of 10 guys that we hung out with that we really don't see anymore. That kind of stinks.
Right. It's definitely rough, and I'd love to get them in, but I was happy to get you in and part of the stream family that we've kind of created here, amongst, Blevins, and we've got like Aflex, Matty J Mania's come into that. Like I don't want to list too many more guys, because then I list too many and forget some, and then there's people that are like, hey, but nonetheless, if I've ever hosted you, or if we've ever streamer spotlighted you, we consider you part of our family and friends, because that's, we're clinging to those close friends that we miss from Magic, and we're trying to recreate that and kind of bring you guys all in.
Absolutely.
And you guys have been phenomenal. From the viewers to the other streamers to the viewers we've turned into streamers because we like them so much that we wanted to hang out in their streams, things like that. So anyways, we will just kind of press on here a little bit and start to talk about what's going on. And since we discussed it last week, we'll start off with the new heroes. Last week, we had just gotten the announcement, just that mysterious, the silhouette with the warrior symbol, and we had no idea what it meant. The only thing I knew with any certainty was that Magni Bronzebeard was going to be what it was.
You were pretty close, man. You were pretty close.
Yeah,
it's not the same guy, but it's damn near close to being the same guy. You hit the nail right on the head.
It is actually exactly the same guy. So yeah, we're going to make an attempt. We know we have the silhouettes for Hunter and Mage, and we'll be talking about them in just a little bit. But essentially what you're going to get here with these new heroes is for $10 you get the new portrait. Okay, that means the new art, you get a new voice pack, and a new animation for your hero ability. As we can see, Magni drops the hammer and gains 2 armor. We're looking at a golden version of him. The one thing I don't know, and I don't know if it's been made clear or not, is if I have Golden Warrior, is that Golden Grommash or is that Golden Warrior? And whichever warrior I pick, I now have. My personal instinct is I have Golden Warrior, so no matter which warrior I select,
it should be gold.
Right. That's my thought, but we don't know, so we will have to keep an eye on that. So Peach, before I give my take on it, give me your initial thoughts on, there's a lot of strong reaction here. Most of it, at least what you're hearing, is negative. But why don't you give me your take on the new skins?
They could have done so much more. Is the new stuff nice, new, and shiny? Yeah, it's new. Does it look nice? Sure. Does the hammer look cool coming down? Okay. What am I getting? Negative $10 in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like, there could have been so much more that you could have done here. You could have switched up the hero power a little bit. You could have, you could have been able to pick and swap between both of them. The best part about this game is that, at least for me, is that it wasn't like a bit where you dump all this, you know what I mean? Like Magic, you want to buy a deck, it could cost you $600, $700. Sometimes the land base is $500. The part about this is that you could spend $20, get 15 packs, open up some great stuff, and go. Not that this is, I don't want to say money grab, because it's not like they're going to grab a lot of money, but people are going to definitely gravitate to this stuff. Is it going to look cool? Sure. Is it going to, are you going to be able to switch between the two of them? Great. But, I mean, it's not doing it for me. They didn't do anything. They just kind of, polished up the penny a little bit and said, oh, here you go. It's going to cost you $10 if you want the new stuff. So
it sounds like you're disappointed, but not really, like, angry about it, or you know what I mean, anything like that. Okay.
Right. So I mean, you could have done a little bit more. You put it perfectly. I'm not disappointed. I am disappointed, but I'm not like raising hell about it. Oh my God, they ruined the game. Stuff like that. So.
Well, now there's a lot of people that are screaming and yelling about it, and as I just noticed that we can't see the name of the show here, that's mildly important. The name of the email, so I just gonna move things around a little bit. That I think that's a big thing here. Like, there's a lot of people that are out on Facebook and Twitter, and they just have this like terrible attitude about this whole thing. You saw me on the podcast last week. I was in my element. I was making up hero abilities. I was super excited. I'm like, what can they do with this? And then I found out, and I'm just like everybody else. I was super disappointed. Okay, right. They created this hype and this ambiguity behind it that, had me ready and raring to go. I was all excited. My brain was turning, and then it just turned out to be what should have been in the game the whole time. And if they would have just come out and said, skins, $10, who wants them? People would have been pumped or not cared at all. Right. Here's what everybody needs to understand. This game is free to play. Okay, and there's whiners and criers out there. It's not free to play. It's pay to win. You can't win. Shut up. Hunter has no legendaries in it. It costs nothing. It's like been the best deck for $1 million. Shut up. It's a free to play game. You don't have to play it. You're not entitled to open every card the day you decide to play. It takes time to build up your collection. You have to start from somewhere. It is a free to play game. Anybody who says any different is lying.
You're 100% correct. If you wanted to, you could spend $0 on this game. It would take you forever, and if you're going to be playing the game forever, to get competitive. But you could, essentially, what do we do with me? You're like, oh, you're an aggro player? Here, try Zoo. I think we crafted 2 knife jugglers, and the rest were commons. And, you can essentially hit the ladder with the Zoo deck and do well. If you wanted to, it would take forever, like I said before, but you could not sink a dime into this game. Don't complain about skins ruining the game because you're PO'd because you don't, you don't want to pay anything else into this game already. I couldn't agree with you more. It's a free-to-play game. If you want the skin, pay the $10. If you don't want the skin, shut up.
Exactly, and that's what people need to realize is this is a purely cosmetic upgrade. And guess what? Every free-to-play game has a cash-only, real money cost cosmetic upgrades. Everything has skins.
Absolutely.
Granted,
right.
Most free-to-play games at the moment are MOBAs, so they're like Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends. And guess what the average cost of a skin is in those games? About $10.
$10.
Okay,
$10.
So those games have how many heroes in them?
Well, what's Heroes of the Storm has got at least 20 20 plus. It's got to have
an average
leagues
of like 7,852 or so.
right. Like right, an astronomical amount of skins, and everybody wants the cool mount, and everybody wants the cool armor, and everybody wants the cool whatever. The weapon looks different, or your helmet looks different, but that stuff is just like you said, completely cosmetic, and people pay for that. And
it's $10. There's like a near infinite number of hero potentials since they come out with new ones all the time. That's how
Correct.
they keep those games fresh. This game has 9 of them. Forever. Forever, ever, ever. At the most, they can have 11.
Right.
So essentially, what you're looking at here is a very poor money grab. This isn't like the other ones where, it's $10 for this skin, but it's $15 for the super fancy one, and it's $20 for this one that's themed about what season it is right now, okay? Right. Those are like legit money grabs, but they're cool, and they just change the look, and they give you a different animation, and guess what these skins do? They change the look, and they give you a different animation. It's a different game. This is much less of a money grab than skins are in other games. And I hate seeing people be entitled and yell and scream like they're owed something. And it's $10 for nothing. It's $10 for nothing. Shut up. It's $10 for a new hero portrait.
You're right, though.
A new animation. You get a card back. And it's great. Am I going to go out and buy 9 of them? No. Am I going to go out and buy the Horde version of every hero that only has an Alliance hero right now?
Yes, you are.
1,000,000,000%. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's my 2 cents. This is not the show to to complain in, because I could not disagree less with people that are complaining and upset about this. The only thing Blizzard did wrong was the ambiguity in the announcement that led us to that just got our minds spinning and going crazy, and that's a marketing failure. And now they have all these unhappy customers, and they need to address them. And I think that might have been why we saw Brawl mode get announced so fast, because it's something that I think people are generally receiving better than I am and excited about. So on the grand scheme of things, if it calms people down over this, I call it a win. But so this is the card back, Peach, that you will be getting when you buy Magni Bronzebeard. Pretty solid one. Like, I really like the looks of this.
Yeah, the artwork's sweet. It's really nice. I like the it's very uniform all the way around. I like the ram's heads that or whatever that may be, skull, whatever that is. It's a solid card back. And they could have given you no card back. You could have had to pick the other card back that you were using. So it's exactly what you said. If you like it, get it. And if you don't like it, then queue up another game. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
It's not like they're forcing us to buy this, or they're pushing our hand. Oh, you better get the new stuff, or you're not gonna have it. So I don't. And as far as the ambiguity of how it was presented, I could not agree with you more, because you had my head swimming, and then you're like when you sent it to me over
Facebook.
On Facebook, I was like, oh, I opened it up, and all was like. I'm like, is this it? Just the hammer? You're like, that's it, man. I was like, oh, man. It's just the hammer smashing it, but he still gets, you're like, that's it, man. I was like, well, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to,
it is what it is when the disappointment's settled.
You can't blame them for trying to fresh up their look. Right, you can't blame them for trying to freshen up their look. And it's not like it costs $1 million. And it's not something that you have to play the game. It's just something that if you want to look different, it's an option for you.
And we are getting a lot of questions in Twitch chat here. There is one I want to address now. It is $10 for one skin. It's per hero, so you're not getting all 9 of them by any stretch. That would cost a total of $90. This is not something they intend everybody to go out and purchase immediately. They're more than happy to take your money if you want to. But that one class that's your favorite, if you want the different, you know what I mean? It's just a different option. So yes. Anyways, moving on here, we did get 2 new designs. We saw the new Hunter silhouette. Okay, now Hunter is currently, why am I blanking on his name? The name of the actual hero. Do you remember? You play so much of it. Valera versus.
Give me a second. I'll come up with it.
I'm sure somebody will fix it in chat. But he's a clearly Horde hero. He's an orc, I believe, and Rexar, yes. Okay, thank you very, thank you very much.
Thank you,
guys.
Peace Monks. Correct.
So I expect, and I'm going to make all my assumptions, that whatever is currently there, the opposite faction will be represented. Okay, and we're going to hit a snag with that right away when we start talking about Mage, but we'll get to that in a minute. So when I look at this hunter, I see two predominant things that tell me a lot of information just from the silhouette. First thing, those are elf ears. So
Agreed.
we're looking at a night elf, okay? And that is supported by the bow. The bow has... It's a very... to me, the bow streams Tyrande, but I don't think it's Tyrande. So the possibilities I've been able to narrow this down to are the lady you see on the right side there, Chandra's Feathermoon. But Miss Sylvanas Windrunner has two sisters named Verisa Windrunner and Illyria Windrunner, and those are kind of my number 2 and my number 3 picks here.
Sure.
Tyrande
Sure.
Whisperwind is certainly a possibility, but she is a priestess of Elune. There's too much. She is listed as a huntress. She is also listed as a priestess, and I think there's too much dual purpose there for them to use her as a face of a class. So I kind of disqualify Tyrande, despite the fact that I think that's Tyrande's bow. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was her, but that's why I didn't guess her. My gut money's on Chandra's Feathermoon, and that's just from trying to compare the artwork, trying to figure everything out. And it's a little bit of a guess. I'm not super confident here. I would be pretty surprised if it wasn't Chandra's or one of the Windrunners. So, but yes, it will not be Sylvanas. There's too much cross appeal there into the horde and the demonic side and things like that.
Right.
Like it just doesn't make sense a little bit. And also it's a card. Until they show me that they're going to make a hero into a card, then I'm not going to buy it. You know, I almost think we're looking at the secondary group of guys. Although I guess that's not true because Shaman has Thrall. But anyways. True. Yeah, Thrall is like a major plot character.
And he's a WoW guy, right?
Yeah, Rexar is kind of big, but I could easily classify Rexar in tier 2 and not feel too bad about it. But maybe that's just because I always diminish hunters a little bit in my head.
By nature.
Yeah, it's just I'm a classist is what it is, and I don't like hunters, and I won't stand for them.
I won't stand for any of your hunter business.
So that's my guess. In order for me to consider myself correct in 2-0 in the hero selection, it will have to be revealed as Chandra's Feathermoon. But
it's a pretty solid guess, though.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The other one we got here is Mage, and the interesting thing about Mage is the Horde doesn't have any. None. I can't think of a single named Mage from my entire time playing World of Warcraft, and I just don't know that there is one. I did some research online. I couldn't really find one. There's a lot of neutral ones. We go through our quests. There's mages we interact with, Archmage, Khadgar. I think this is Medivh. Okay, Medivh is a little bit on the neutral side. I think initially, obviously, it's a human mage, as we can see, which would put him on the Alliance side. His storyline is that he gets corrupted by the Scourge a little bit. And then he kind of plays this off and on evil good guy role, and he goes back and forth a little bit. And I really think by looking at the image here, I've heard a couple different things. Now, you guys can see my mouse on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube and like driving or something, I apologize. But we can see these points here kind of coincide with these points here.
Yep. His collar is even with the collar in the silhouette. The feathers on his shoulders are even with the feathers in the silhouette.
Exactly. I've heard people say this here looks like a troll tusk. I'm not buying it. I think it's these feathers. Or it could be just like this ruby
his
or something.
medallion, yeah.
But he doesn't have to be wearing the same clothes. I just think that's way too close. Like, to have this be one of the main art pieces of artwork for the mage, I just really think they kind of use this guy in this outfit, and I think this is exactly what we're going to see. The big telling factor to me is the staff. Okay, it's just a long, straight piece of wood until you get towards the end, and it's a big ball. And that's shown here, and as well as here. This one looks a little bit bigger to me, but it's closer to the camera, so perspective is going to warp that as well. And I just don't see it really being able to be anybody else. There's, like I said, not much for the Horde going as far as mages are concerned, and certainly nothing major that you'd think you'd want to see. And Medivh is a classic Warcraft character and very big into the lore.
Yeah, you got to be. I think you're spot on with that one right there. I mean, it's practically identical. It really is. It really is close. So
yeah.
I don't see how it could be anyone else. You're right about maybe he is dressed differently, but that's about as on the money as I guess as you could make.
Yeah, I'm more confident in this one than I was in Magni Bronzebeard. I keep wanting to call him Firebeard. That's probably insensitive to gingers, though. But anyways, yeah, I really don't see any way around this being Medivh, and really the chatter I've seen so far, and there's not really too many other people guessing other things. Everybody seems in lockstep as though it'll be Medivh, and he should be a cool one. I'm not sure I'll be buying him because he's not Horde aligned, but definitely cooler than Jaina Proudmoore, I've got to say, no matter what. Kind of on the evil end of things. And to me, especially in Warcraft games, these games are defined by the bad guys. The name of one of the expansions was Wrath of the Lich King. And on the main, it's just...
Right.
That's how you define the era of Warcraft. And so I think it's very cool. And I've always been drawn to them, especially in this game, because of that fact. They draw me into them. Yeah, and it kind of transfers into other games, too. I was a necromancer in Diablo 2, a witch doctor.
Of course you are. The bad guys
3.
are where it's at. You always like the bad guys. I always have fights with my son. How come you always like the bad guys? The bad guys are always the cooler looking, better powers. It's always you fall in love with the bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this. So Han Solo's super cool, but Darth Vader is, it's Vader. It's, people are like, oh, my son says, oh, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm like, Vader's like, why are you always Vader, Dad? I mean, the bad guys are where it's at. It's always been like that.
Right. I'm not rooting for them.
Right. They're just cooler to look at.
They're just awesome. Like, yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
I still want the good guys to win, but I just think the bad guys are way cooler.
I agree.
Anyways, that'll pretty much wrap up the new hero discussion. And, yeah, we will move on and talk about the Tavern Brawl. Yeah, the new game mode. So now in the main screen, you'll have, play at the top, arena, solo adventures, and then Tavern Brawl.
Right.
We got a lot of information about what this game mode will be, and we got it just a couple hours before the show, so I got to do the PowerPoint presentation twice. So I'm just going to read what they've provided. This is all copy-pasted and verbatim right from their post.
Copy Pastorino.
Yes. Each week, a different Tavern Brawl will pit you head-to-head versus another player using exciting and unique rules. One week might feature preset decks, while another week could have you crafting a brand new Tavern Brawl deck following specific guidelines, while others might offer buffs to specific minion types. Who knows? Good. Mechs weren't good enough. We have to make them better. This game mode is locked until you have a level 20 hero. Okay, so everybody, if you don't have one already, get one there. It's not super difficult.
ASAP.
Tavern Brawls will have free admission when the new mode becomes available. As part of the launch celebration, you'll earn a free card pack when you win your first game of the week in the first several brawls.
Back hype!
So, obviously, that's just a way to celebrate it, get people to try it out, go in there, see what it's all about. Great. I'm all for it. What we don't know, and what is kind of ambiguous, I'm sorry, just gonna stop for a second, gather my thoughts, and learn how to speak again. Okay.
Ambiguous.
Yes. So what is still kind of unknown is what the entry fee will be afterwards. What's the point in doing this afterwards? If I'm going to spend 150 gold to enter into a brawl, what am I going to get out of it if I win? What are the circumstances? Like Arena, you're guaranteed your money back at 7. You win all the money at 12. There's going to be stipulations like that, and we simply don't have it. So it'll be curious to see what exactly comes out of there. But, Peach, what are your first impressions? Because I know we do disagree a little bit here on this one, but neither of us are against it or angry. So.
No, I'm not against it or angry about it. I do feel like Blizzard needs to write Crip a check, because I feel like this was his idea. You know what I mean? I can remember watching his stream. He's coming up with new ideas about, who could kill themselves first and who could do. It's very similar to that. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to give you a class, and this is what you have to do, and this is the other thing. I'm not against it. But again, they could have did so much more. You brought up a good point to me today when we were talking about this afternoon, that people want to get into a tournament to make themselves better at the game. They want to be able to get into these kind of things that you can pit yourself against other people and have the ability to, come out on top. Again, I'm not against it, but I feel like they could have done so much more. And as far as, hyping it like they did with the new characters and stuff, we have, just like you said, we have zero inkling on what it is. Am I spending 150 gold for nothing? Am I getting a one pack per deal, at the time? I don't. But where I differ from you is that I like the fact that there's a different option. I like the fact that a lot of people are really good at arena. I'm not. Right now it's either arena or ladder. I prefer the ladder, only because I have more success at the ladder. I think the highest I've ever done in the arena is 6 wins. I know you've 12-0'd before, where you're getting, you're reaping all the benefits. I'm at 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins, you know what I mean? Where I'm getting some of the money back, I'm getting a pack of cards. I'm not getting completely, I'm not getting screwed out of anything. I pay 150, maybe I get 80 in a pack and 20 dust, which isn't bad. It's great. It's basically your money back, too. You spend 150 gold, the pack is 100 anyway, so if you can go over 50 gold between both the gold and the dust, you made out. But I like that there's a third option that we can go to. I like that there's a third option that I like the option that it changes, Okay, so this week it's just priests, or this week it's just hunters, and we're going to give you maybe they make something in the game where your hero power doesn't work for the first 2 turns, or I mean, the possibilities are infinite here. But where I'm with you is that it lacks that tournament style. Like, I want to go in, I know that I'm going to tear it up, 8-man pod, 16-man pod, and you win 3 packs, or you win a couple hundred gold, or whatever the case may be. There's no. I feel like this could have been like a MTG draft style, where they can get a whole bunch of people, 16 people, 32 people, and bracket them up, and then have a nice prize at the end, maybe top 4, maybe top 2, that kind of thing. I feel like they're a little bit short on that, though.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people want basically to take the arena, but don't have me pick any cards and just let me select a constructed deck.
Right.
That would be a lot of fun and would be really cool. Something I would do, I would probably stop laddering, in all honesty, if they were to do that. But I don't think they want to do that either. They don't want to kill off a game mode. And I know that's something Blevins was super, like, when we were talking about it when it was still unknown and all we knew was that the 4th button was coming. He said, and if you played Magic the Gathering online, you'll remember this. He goes, "Where's my 8-4s? I want to do 8-4s." And what 8-4 is 8 people sign up for a tournament, 1 man leaves, that man leaves with 8 packs. Second place guy leaves with 4 packs. To make it balanced, it would probably cost 500 gold to enter, something along those lines, or $5.
Probably correct.
Or maybe 300 gold or $5, something like that. But he wanted a way to grind out packs and grind out dust through constructed play.
And that's huge for the new players, too, that don't have any experience in the Hearthstone. You know what I mean? Like, if I can go into, even if you get lucky, I mean, there's the geniuses who are great at Hearthstone are the same kind of geniuses that are great at Magic the Gathering. If you can go in and grind out an 8-man and come out with 8 packs for, 300 gold, 400 gold, you're getting the experience. 2, it's going to widen your card base, and you're going to be able to play more cards, make more decks, and you're going to want to keep coming back for that. Maybe they don't have it with gold. Maybe they just have it with cash because, if you flood the market with a whole bunch of packs and people just are 8-manning, we're calling it 8-manning,
right.
People just 8-man it, you know what I mean? Like, then everybody, not that you don't want everybody not to have the card because you do, but I think that they would lose people buying the packs. So maybe it's just straight, $4.99, jump in there. Same thing as Friday Night Magic. And I keep going back to that. But, $5, you're going to get a pack no matter where you finish. And if you finish in the top 8, you forego that pack and you take the grand prize. Or something along those lines.
So, yeah, like my whole issue with this, and the more I've thought about it, and the more I've thought, I like it. It's really cool. It's a good idea. It's fun. The thing I loved about the heroic solo adventures was the challenge. This is going to give me a new twist, something to test my brewing skills. Like doing these brawls and getting really innovative with the decks that you choose to do. Might be awesome because I'm losing, but I'm not dropping on ladder, so I get to try some new different things and not,
nice.
You know what I mean? So it's still maybe play against the more competitive player, but not kill my ladder rank at the same time. But it really all depends on the rules, and what I like about it is it's going to teach me to build decks better for ladder because I'm forced to do it on the fly under this weird strain that's not normally there, this kind of added pressure. And when you learn to do something and then take, 20% of the pressure away, it's just that much easier to do later when you know what I mean? So it should be really interesting. And I love the fact that it's a real opportunity for new players to gain some extra cards.
I agree with that 100%.
That's great. Like I said, this is a free-to-play game, and like you said, it does take a really long time to own everything if you're not going to pay.
It really does. It really does. But and it gives the new players that option to. I mean, so maybe it's not 8 packs, maybe it's 4 packs, maybe it's $2 to play, or whatever the case may be. But we've all started somewhere. We've all started on the grind, and I remember starting out where you're like, you really got to. I'm like, oh, I really like this mage person, and you're like, dude, you need to unlock the rest of the cards. I'm like, no, my mage is level 20. You're like, dude, you need to unlock the other cards. I'm like, no, that, and then like, you know what I mean? There's something about, you said that you've never done it, but 1 or 2 times I've done it where I've gone on such great winning streaks, or I've played for such a long period of time because I'm just grinding gold, where the game's like, you can't win any more gold, dude. You have grinded your maximum capacity for gold, and in the end, maybe you made 100 gold plus your quest 160, but that's 30 games. You have to win 30 games to get 100 gold. That's 1 pack of cards. So I like the opportunity for people to be able to kind of grind that out, get their feet wet earlier with a bigger set of cards with bigger, a wider base of cards that you can use.
Yeah. So the other thing about this Brawl business is that it is not going to be up 24/7. It's not just going to be something you can log in and do at any time.
And I like that too, that you can't just jump in and queue up. Oh, let's grind Brawls all night, because then I'll have 160 packs to burn through.
I don't like it, because I think 160 packs, I don't see any way where you're actually going to come out of this thing with 160 packs. But nonetheless, because it's also going to I don't know. It could do any number of things, but I get the feeling that the gold you spend to enter is destroyed. You're not earning gold back. You're earning cards back. You're earning packs back, So that's kind of my impression, but it's just so unknown. We just can't tell. What worries me about this, and this is what worries me about everything, is that the beauty of this game, I've said this a million times in the show, is its simplicity, okay? The fact that there's 4 buttons on the main screen is awesome. I've taken college courses on heuristics and graphical user interface development. Like, this is what I do, and it is why this game is so successful, that there's no options, that you can have no idea what you're doing and still find your way into a game really, really fast. It's literally the beauty of it, and they were also able to have the complexity of the strategy involved, everything like that. They're not going to make a 5th button on this main screen, guys.
No way.
There's never going to be button number 5. Now, they could do like the quest log button that we can all see down here. I don't know if you probably can't see, but right above the email address, you can see that quest button. There might be another one, maybe on the right-hand side, that's like a capital T, and that's your tournament center down the line. Right. It could happen. but it's a big blow to there ever being an integrated tournament center to have that last button spot filled up by something that's not the tournament center.
Right.
So that's what makes me nervous, is I want Hearthstone to be as big of an esport or professional gaming, part of the professional gaming industry. I want it to be as big as anything, as League of Legends, as Magic is, as all of it. And I don't think they're ever going to achieve that status without a integrated tournament center. They've done close, but this isn't guaranteed. But I saw an announcement about IEM Katowice, which I'm probably saying that wrong, but Hearthstone's been invited to and a part of that the last 2 seasons. I did not see it on the list of games for the next one. So that's a big blow, and that's a big event for the esports industry. So
yep, I agree.
This could this will help new players. This will be great for the game, and ultimately, hey, even with Magic, constantly they make moves that are jabs at the competitive players and the pros.
Correct.
It's not. It's what you care about as a player. It is not what the company cares about as a business. They'd make a decent amount of money off me in Hearthstone. Hasbro and Magic made no money from me. I literally gave them $0. I gave my money to the tournament organizers and to the local shops. None of it went to. It was because I bought singles. I won my packs. I didn't go out and buy 5 packs every 2 days like I do in Hearthstone.
Yeah, the difference between MTG and Hearthstone is that, exactly, you win your packs. So say you win 6 packs, you open a foil that's worth $100, you trade that in for all the commons and uncommons and a couple of rares you need. They take away that aspect, and I like the fact that you can't trade. I like the fact that you have to kind of pack through. I like that, but it's like apples and oranges. There's just you can't compare it. You're right. And if you can succeed at Magic, you will. It will be zero. It will be zero fee. I mean, we used to do it all the time, Jim. You save all your high-end foils, and then you go to a tournament, you trade all your high-end foils at the top price, and you trade them for regular versions and whatever else you need to round out your deck. You know what I mean? Instead of paying $15 for that watery grave, you turn in a foil and get 2 watery graves. And so it's weird how the Magic scene, it's almost double. Like a foil card is worth double a regular card. So if I needed to, I could turn one in, trade something else, and then get 2 of the same version. But I'm. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and we've seen how in Magic, anybody. You saw me when I graduated. I was as close to a professional Magic player as probably anybody I know is going to be. And by that, I don't mean I made enough money to support myself. I mean, I lived with my parents, and the bills I had to pay, I paid. I didn't have a job. I made that money winning Magic tournaments. And, I ran tournaments at a shop, so my entry fee was paid. The shop didn't have the best player base in the world, so I was winning all the time. And, he was giving me store credit for extra events, things like that. I showed up, I won every time, top 4 at every time in prize split, because I was running the events and kind of represented the shop, so it would have felt wrong to me to be like, no, we're playing it out, you know what I mean? Like every single time, it just doesn't make sense. So, we just split every time. I turned my packs into store credit. I used my store credit to buy his money rares out of his case, and we'd go to a big tournament. I'd hand my binder to a shop, and they'd hand me a few $100, and I'd go home and be able to pay my phone bill and my student loan bill for another month.
Right, 100% correct.
Yeah, so that was how we did it, and this I would love to see Hearthstone able to support that. Kind of have that grinder. There's all these minor little tournaments that are out there and being run, and I want to be a part of them, but I don't trust anyone on the planet, really, okay? If I don't know you, and that's just unfortunately the world we live in, and I think how you have to be in order to not get screwed over in this life, and it's sad, but I don't trust my opponent not to cheat. I don't trust, a lot of different things, and if they were to put a tournament center in, I could trust that when my opponent said, these are my 3 decks, the game locked them out, so you couldn't even change them in the deck editor.
That's right. That's correct.
What I mean?
Or you pull a draft card out of your binder and go, oh, I forgot I had a 5th Tarmogoyf in my deck. Here it is. Oh, guess what? It's a 7/8. Oh, yeah, attack. Yeah, exactly. And I'm with you 100% on this as well. I like the fact that It is you jump into this tournament center, you hit the tournament button, and you're in, and you put your 3 decks in, you lock, and that's it. You can't go anywhere, no matter what happens. Now it's back up to, your random generator. What card? And your brain against his brain. You got to know what he's going to play or she's going to play, and you got to know how to play around it. But there's no chance for outside interference. No one can bump the table and I forgot what my life was at, or no, you know what I mean. I got you at 15. Well, I got you at 20. So there's none of that. Not none of it. There's less human error involved, and there's less trust you need to have in your opponent because it will be taken care of for you.
Right. There's a system in place. There's rules that'll be followed. And in Hearthstone, it's like, okay, what 3 classes are you playing? Great. All right. Now, I said Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior, but round 1, I played Handlock and Face Hunter and Grim Patron Warrior. And in round 2, I'm Mid-Range Hunter, I'm Zoolock, and I'm Control Warrior. And who the hell knows? Unless somebody goes and complains, and what am I going to do every single round? Can you check and make sure that he was playing these decks? No. Just no. That doesn't make any sense. You can't ask the tournament organizer to do that. Nobody would want me to play in their tournaments if I did it. And it deters me from wanting to play in these small tournaments. So I would love to see it built in. And as somebody that's hosted tournaments and will host more tournaments, I would host a ton more and organize a ton more if it was taken care of for me. And that's just the truth of it, because it's such a I make people screenshot their deck lists and send them to me. I consult them while I'm trying to cast their games, because
it's a huge pain in the butt, dude.
To me in Magic, it's got to be there. Deck checking has to be there. There's and if the game does it, I can just set it and forget it and not have to worry about it, and it would be done. So anyways, back to the Brawl. That's what worries me about it, is the thought that that's what we're giving up in order to have this. Not that there's anything wrong with this, not that this won't be super fun. We don't know enough about it. I might love it one week and hate it the next week. And that's going to be part of the fun of it, if I want to make sure I get my Brawl card back every week, or however they're going to reward you for doing it, I'm going to do every single one of them, and I'm probably going to anyways. But it's just it's me worried about what I'm not going to get in the future instead of, having an issue with this. So look forward to Brawl. We're going to see it mid-June, and that's this month. So it's going to be, next week or in a week, 2 weeks from now. We'll have our first Brawl, so we won't have to...
Yeah, man, Sunday's the 14th, man. That's the middle of the month, so...
Yeah, so I would almost look maybe next Tuesday to open up.
Yep,
and it's probably
maybe during the maintenance,
change and reset on that Tuesday maintenance schedule, so... Anyways, we are cooking and moving along here, and we're going to stop talking about Brawl and move on to talk about this deck I've been playing recently.
Hey-oh!
Acolyte Priest. So this is a deck that we found on Hearthstone. I don't know anything about the guy that made it, and I apologize. If you look on Hearthstone, it'll probably be right there on the main front page. There's some notable exclusions from this deck, and we'll talk about them in a minute, but for the time being, let's talk about the notable addition. When was the last time you saw Acolyte of Pain in a Priest deck, Peach?
Can't remember that I ever have. It's just not something that happens. It's just, you know what I mean? The Priest has so many other ways to... It's just... when I think 3 mana, I'm thinking... who's the Death Rattle guy? 3/4. The yeah, you know what I mean. That's what I'm thinking. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. We're drawing with our 1/3. Do you know what I mean? There's no. I can't believe it's in there. I just can't believe it blows my mind that it's in there. It just it almost looks like it doesn't fit there. But you're telling me it does.
I'm telling you, it's been great so far.
You're telling me it does.
Now, the cards this deck doesn't play, okay? And like I said, there's significant exclusions.
Right.
Dr. Boom, not there. The Dark Cultist you talked about, not there.
Not there.
No Light Bomb. No Sludge Belcher. No Mind Control. Okay? These are Priest staples that aren't seeing play in this deck, and I firmly believe this is the best Priest iteration on the ladder right now. So
really?
This deck features Shrinkmeister. He does a lot of work. So let's say your opponent goes Sludge Belcher, so you Shrinkmeister it, and then you Cabal Shadow Priest it, and now it's your Sludge Belcher. Let's say they play Sylvanas. You Shrink Meister it, you Shadow Madness it, you run it face first into their Dr. Boom, steal their Dr. Boom. It's insane what this card enables you to be able to steal from your opponent and do to your opponent later on in the game.
It does give my Golden Vol'jin a spot too, so
right?
I'd like to be using that, right?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm very jealous. I forgot you had that. Priest is like a class I like. I've never crafted a Golden Priest card in my life. With that said, I have 1 Golden Auchenai Soul Priest, 2 Golden Light of the Narus, 2 Golden Holy Fires, 2 it's just I have crazy golden cards for Priest completely on accident. So I would love to accidentally rip the Legend, and then I feel like I could finish it for 5,000 dust, which is a bargain to finish a golden deck.
Okay. I'll trade mine to you. You can have it.
All right. Oh, never mind. That won't work. Anyway. Yeah, now this, unlike the Chinese Priest deck that had kind of been popular prior to this, we're back to the Auchenai Circle combo, and that's huge. And the reason why is Grim Patron, because when...
Everyone, get in here!
When that happens, you need to clear the board right away, every single time.
Get in here!
Peach can't hear that, so it took him a while to realize it. He didn't even know I did the acrobat.
I saw you hit the button. Everyone, get in here!
Yeah, so you have to reset the board and you have to clear it. Now, another thing that's really interesting to notice is I had an opponent at, what was he at? He was at 8 life, okay? And I played an Auchenai Soul Priest, and then I played a Zombie Chow. And then I lighted the Narud to kill my Zombie Chow to deal 5 damage to his face. And then I used a second Light of the Naru to hit his face. And I dealt him 8 damage and burn out of nowhere from an empty board and killed him. And so there's a lot of really sneaky things you can do with Auchenai Soul Priest. It makes your Light of the Narus way better. Also, having Auchenai Soul Priest on the board already means your Vol'jin just automatically switches power with a guy and then dies right away to your hero ability. So there's a ton of really interesting interactions. The Vol'jin's been great. I've loved everything about this deck. There's really not much more powerful and not much better to do with this deck than to build your own Injured Blade Master by Velen's Chosening an Acolyte of Pain. And having a 4/7 Acolyte of Pain that draws you 15 cards over the course of the game.
It's pretty sick.
We also play Wild Pyromancer in this deck. Now, it's worth noting in this list, I tried to screenshot the original list and I screwed up. The original list plays 2 Wild Pyros and 1 Shadow Word Death. I disagree with that personally. So what we're looking at right now is that one change from the original deck on Hearthbone's website. Now, the Wild Pyromancer interacts with the Acolyte of Pain as well. So while you're clearing Face Hunter's board, you're also drawing a couple cards, which is obviously really strong. But yeah, not a deck that relies on Velen's Chosen, and it doesn't play Death Lord, so you don't have to have that frustration of oh cool, it's turn 4 and you just cheated an Ysera into play and I can no longer win, so bye.
No!
Right, that can never happen. And now that deck, it was fine that it could happen because that deck was about the law of large numbers, right? That's one of the things that makes Hearthstone stand out from Magic as well. In Magic, that is a terrible, terrible thing to have happen. In Hearthstone, you go, my win rate's still over 50%, next game please, and you just move on.
In your face.
Right. So, anyways, this is a really cool deck. We're going to be playing it in the after show. I hope, I literally, like I said, I went up 2 ranks super fast last night after my World of Warcraft raid. Still didn't kill Ren Blackhand, by the way. We're working on that though. Hopefully Thursday.
Come on, man.
Oh, he's brutal, man. But yes. Anyways, so I am currently sitting on a win streak. So as soon as we log in and win that first game, we will get 2 stars for it, and it should be a
win
good
streak.
time. Anyways, though, we're going to move things on to the question and answer portion of the show. I'm going to go try to find one in chat. Please, I know a lot of you guys asked a question. Please retype them. I would love to answer all of them and make sure I get to all of them, but I did miss some. That was the one I answered away. If they add new distinct heroes, do you expect them to cost $10? Haymaker, that is a really good question. Thank you for asking. The one thing you have to note, if they add new heroes, and I assume by that you mean they have a new hero ability, it will not be behind a paywall. You will have the option to pay cash for it. $10 sounds pretty reasonable to me, but maybe it needs to be more expensive because it comes with the hero ability, so there's that extra value to it. But no matter what, if it gives you a competitive advantage in the game, there will be a gold option to purchase it. So you don't have to worry about it, being something you can't obtain without $20 or something like that. Sean51 asks, "Holy bleep, you guys have a podcast. That's awesome." Hey, Peach. Yes, we do have a podcast. Normally it is myself and the Blevins as your normal co-host. The Peach is filling in this week.
Correct.
And obviously he's a close member of the family, so he's usually in chat hanging out. And I'm sure periodically he'll just come on with both me and Blevins. As that was the plan. It was going to be the three of us today. But Mr. Blevins was stuck in traffic. All right. Let's see if we can find any more. Peach, let me know if you see any of them. Did you know that it used to be 60 card decks? I never saw it. I've heard that, but I've never played during a time when it was 60 card decks on Hearthstone. So I guess I really didn't know it definitively, but it doesn't sound like something I'm hearing for the first time. But I couldn't have told you that it was ever 60 cards in a deck before that. Before now. So while we were talking about the bad guys define the Warcraft games, somebody pointed out that Mists of Pandaria didn't really have bad guys. I wouldn't know. I did not play during Mists of Pandaria, unfortunately. I do obviously know a little bit, like I've quested through the zones. Who are the bad guys blowing up that dragon's temple? Like, we fought them off. I don't know. There's some bad entity, but I get what you mean. It's not... the Scourge, it's not the Iron Horde, it's, I don't know.
There's no definitive bad guy, right?
Right, not an entity, just evil, okay.
Right.
Great. Maybe the Alliance was the bad guy.
Could have been, Jim.
Was that it? I don't, because there was one of the raids and I never did it, and I was hoping to go in and solo it, but I just can't, level 100s can't quite solo it like they can, like Wrath of the Lich King content and stuff. Siege of Orgrimmar. So to me, it's almost like, are the Alliance besieging Orgrimmar and I have to fight them off? That would be sweet. Do you think that Malygos would be useful in that priest deck? Peach, you want to answer that? Let's look at the priest deck again.
You bring it up. We really don't have that much direct damage spell. You do have a little bit here. Lighter Naru. Who am I to say? Malygos is what? Plus 5. So instead you're with Alkanai, Malygos, and Light of Naru. You're looking at 9 or 8 damage. We really don't have a lot of direct damage going towards their face. The priest doesn't have that many spells. I think you kind of take away from the deck a little bit if you kind of throw him in there. But who knows? Could it work? Sure, it could work, but what would the interaction with Alkanai Soul Priest be? Would it do 9 damage?
I believe I know the answer to this. I think it would up the damage, but here's the thing. When you don't have an Alkanai Soul Priest out, spell damage and spell power does not increase your ability to heal.
Right.
So it would only work when you had one of 2 cards in your deck in play. It would only have any benefit. And the only other times you're going to benefit when you don't have an Alkanai Soul Priest in play is when you're casting your 1 Holy Nova.
Right.
So generally speaking, I don't think Malygos really has much place. You'll also notice that for a control deck, this deck tops out at 6 mana. Sylvanas is the most expensive card in here, and that's really saying something. This deck is about combinations of cards, multiple cards being played at the same time to have very powerful effects. And I don't think a 9 mana card, even Asera would do okay, but I don't think I'd want it. I'd rather
it's too expensive, and by expensive I mean mana cost. It kind of relies on a whole bunch of things to happen, as opposed to putting your Alkanai out and just like you said, how you killed that guy. Alkanai, Light of Naru, and Zombie Chow. That's 8 damage. You know what I mean? Between 3 cards that cost less than 10 mana to play, Malygos is 9 to play on its own. So I just don't think it fits.
Yeah, it's just a little off. You could definitely make a priest deck that cared about Malygos. Dragon Priest was a thing for a little bit. There's no reason you couldn't go a little heavy on the spells and make a Malygos priest deck. But I don't think I would try to fit it in here. I think your game plan is very intricate and you're very, very planned out, and I don't think you would really assist very much with it. Moving on to the next question here. What's your take on the new game mode instead of something like a tournament setup? Sieberman, unfortunately, we had about 20 minutes of the show dedicated to that. We both liked the new game mode, and we were both a little bit worried about the implications of it not being at the tournament center, and we'll let you kind of go watch on YouTube to catch up on that a little bit. But thank you very much for stopping by and submitting the question nonetheless. The Blizzard team working on Hearthstone said they could make more heroes. Do you think they will make Monk or DK? I haven't seen the announcement myself or the statement myself. I've heard, however, that there is a statement out there that they will not make them. I think that's wrong. I think it's just a matter of time, and by that I mean in 3 years when the game's almost completely dead, maybe they do it and it sparks a bunch of people and it's just something so new it brings everybody back. It might be like a last ditch effort revival of the game kind of a thing. DK and Monk are playable. Monk has been for less so I would expect DK first and then Monk if that goes well maybe, but I don't know. Peach, do you have any thoughts on the other playable classes from World of Warcraft coming into the game?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. I think you're absolutely right. I think in a desperation spot where the game has kind of worn off and the effect has not taken. This is why, to kind of seep into what Sieberman's question was. This is why we spent 20 minutes on the tournament part of it. That part, I think they're kind of saving that, or at least I hope that they're saving that. So when people are bored of the ladder and people are bored of arena, people are bored of, watching other people, there's this tournament piece that you can go in and it's new. It's always new. It's always new. And it's not, there's a reason why everybody plays mage in the arena. It's the best class in the arena. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they try to continue to nerf hunter, and it's always good no matter what, because those class cards, just interact so well together.
Well, I think the reason Hunter's always so good is the hero ability is so strong.
Right. I mean, it's insane. It's insane to deal 2 damage each turn. So, while I think, yes, they could bring a new class, at this point, I don't think they really need to. I think I like the fact that, whatever the time frame is between new sets, that's what it is. I like the fact that there's only a couple sets in there, new sets. The thing I didn't like about Magic, and I know I keep referring to that, so I apologize if that's irritating for anybody, is that a new set comes out every 3 months. Do you know what I mean? So by the time you get a grasp on the cards you have in your hand, you already got to get a grasp on the new cards. I like the fact that there's so many deck changes, and even if it's 1 or 2 cards, because they're 30-card decks, that the possibilities are infinite, and you never know what's going to work, and the meta is constantly changing. Magic, the meta stays stagnant. Even when a new set comes out, there's 1 or 2 changes, but nothing crazy. So when I think, I would like to see new classes, just not now. And maybe I'm old-fashioned, only because I've been playing since November. I haven't even been playing since beta, but I like the way it is. I enjoy doing the ladder. I wish I was better at arena. I do want a tournament center button. All of that stuff. I could, and Jim, when we talked about it today, I couldn't stop thinking about your thoughts about how you want to get involved in the game and you want to see the game evolve to this huge thing like League is. I mean, I don't want this game to die. I want to be part of the people that are making this game go, and the people that are making this game better, and the people that are like, oh my, so when the new people come in, they go, wow, what an awesome game, and look at all these interactions I have, and this, it's decent to get into, it's decent, it's cheap enough for me to get in where I can spend $40 and have 3 decks to play.
And they go, man, Peach and Deathblow are so good at commentating tournaments, it's not even funny,
How do we get those guys on our show? But I like the aspect of introducing new characters. I just don't like it right now.
Yeah, like you said, we're fresh off BRM, and this is the first metagame I've seen where it almost feels a little solved. Like I found myself like almost 2-3 weeks after the set came out, going like, man, I hate all these decks already. Like I don't even want to play these. And to me, that just means I'm well versed in the metagame and I know what's going on, because like the deck I played at Magic tournaments was the last deck on my list of what I wanted to play. You know what I mean? Like, when I chose it early on, great. I was super excited. I love control decks. I'll play it. By the time I was prepared and ready to travel to this tournament and shell out the money,
you want to throw up.
I played so many games sitting in Peach's kitchen, sitting in my kitchen on Moto. I'd build it if I was going to a big tournament, something like that, and it would just be kind of like out of this world how nauseated I would get even thinking about picking up the deck to play it. My one buddy, Vinny Tundo, after a tournament that I think we were like waiting on Mike Powers to finish up or something like that. Like, there was somebody else still active in the tournament. And my buddy goes, "You want to play?" And I'm like, "Play what?"
Right.
And he's like, "Magic."
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
With your deck that you've been playing with all weekend. I'm like, how can you even consider it? I'm like, did you prepare for this event? Have you not played 4 million games with that deck in the last month?
100% correct.
We were joking
how many
around
times,
about it.
Right, how many times have when we were practicing, how many hundreds, maybe even thousands of games have we thrown together? And I'm like, "Dude, you want to test tonight?" You're like, "Dude, I can't even look at a Magic card." He's like, "I can't even pick up the deck without wanting to throw up because I know it front and back."
And with that said, I still went over there and played and tested because
sure, of course we did. Of course we did.
I didn't like it.
Of course we did. Right.
I didn't enjoy myself.
Right. So I don't want it to get that stale. I like the fact that new sets come out. I like the fact that they're affordable. I don't think $25 for a new set of, between what was the first? What was the first set? Nax. How many cards was it? 50? 75 cards?
25.
All right. So it was $25, but how many new cards did we get?
No,
we got like
20 to 25 new cards. That's all that was in each one. Yeah.
So, but I mean, like those, it's such a small amount, but it changes everything. Everything. People were playing. Thought Arcane Shot was good. Oh, it's 2 damage for 1 minute, and then Quick Shot comes out, and people are like, "Holy cow! You can draw a card, and it's 1 more damage." Like it's an immediate impact. Wow, you don't have to figure it out. You can just throw it in and be like, "Holy crap, that works like a charm. I got to be playing that card."
Right. Wow, 44 cards, says Sieberman. Like, in that range. He's not giving us an exact number, but that surprises me that it was that many even. Because I know, like, BRM was even small. I mean, you figure you got what? There's 5 wings in each of the solo adventures, an average of 4 per, so 20 plus a legend at the end of each set, so 24.
Right.
On that
many.
average, it's not a ton, but it's a good amount.
Not many.
And this is the first metagame where I've seen little movement in what's good. The basic set, when it was just basic, it was unbelievable. You could log in the next day and the metagame was completely different, and it was crazy how much it tweaked and changed with nothing coming out. And that's true balance in a game. And maybe that means BRM kind of undid the balance a little bit, but there's no balance changes set for the patch that's going to drop the Brawl mode on us. No cards will be changed at that time. I did see confirmation of that. So it'll be curious to see exactly where the game goes. We do have another couple questions here. We are going to cut it after. I think we've got one more. Reg wants to know, do you think for Monk using the 4 mana Celestial Aspects from Miss of Pandaria, Tyra, Crane Serpent can be used, and if so, how? Reg, I have no idea. I don't even know what those are. I've never played a Monk. I don't know what the aspects are. I couldn't tell you even in the slightest, unfortunately. And if it's something about the Warcraft universe I don't know, I'll guarantee you Peach doesn't know it.
For sure.
So unfortunately, maybe in the after show you can explain it to us a little bit. Let us know. I'll kind of try to process of elimination it. And worst case scenario, if the question sticks with me and bugs me, I don't know, I'll play a Monk to level 20 or something and try to figure out what's going on. But anyways, guys, I think that is going to wrap things up for the main event here, for the main show. So I thank all of you, each and every one of you, for stopping by. We've had a lot of people here on Twitch today. I really appreciate it. I really hope, the YouTube audience as well gets a kick out of it. You guys might not know Peach as well, but you should. You should spend some time watching his stream. Come check out my stream. Right above me, over there, you will see the
nice one.
The nice Twitter names. Now, Peach, try and point to something. Oh man, you got there right away. Point at me. Oh, yep. See, you didn't get there.
The opposite way, right?
Yeah.
Nope, I gotta go this way.
Yep. See,
there you are.
So weird. Now you know what. Now you know what me and Blevins go through.
It is weird.
It just doesn't work. I know. I've just got to point over there, but I've been doing this for a little while. All right, guys. Well, I thank you all so much for stopping by. Please hang out with us. We will be doing the after show, me and Peach together, playing this priest deck on the ladder. It will be a good time. Not sure exactly how long we will be doing that, but nonetheless, it will be happening. Thank you guys so much. Peach, say goodbye to everybody.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the warm welcome, for the sub. I had a great time. I can't wait to do it again. Make sure that you're following us. If you don't, it is Unleash the Cast. The email address unleashthecast@gmail.com. Unleash the Podcast. If you're following Death Blow's channel, you will be able to pick up the podcasts every Wednesday. I was looking at the notes today. Today was 17 for you guys, Jim. That's 17 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
That's crazy to me. It feels like
Right. It just feels like it just took off. But we have these guys work their butts off for the content and to produce it. So, make sure that you're showing them the love by following the channel, and make sure that, you stay current with us because, we're not the greatest players on the planet, but we are definitely above the average. So, it's not like we know everything, but we know a good deal about a whole bunch of stuff. So, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with us, and stay tuned for the after show.
Yeah, guys, and like Peach said, we don't know everything. We just think we do. So
that's right. That's right.
We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. And Twitch audience, we will see you in the after show. And P.S., if you're a YouTube viewer and for some reason you have experience exporting a regular YouTube show into iTunes, please tweet at me. I need help. I'll figure it out eventually. It's just not quite as easy as I expected it to be. So any guidance would definitely be appreciated. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Everyone, get in here! Fire!